Good evening and welcome to the news, the weekend news, international and local news on Your Voice Radio. It's 51 minutes gone past the hour of 7 on Voice Radio. Today, the 1st of September 2012. You are about to hear the news, the weekend international and local news, where your comment would be entertained, and we will take your comment and say it as you posted it on our website and what you want people to hear. Some of the news headlines: police charge 18-year-old student with murder. Konadu holds the key to NDC's electoral fortune in Ashanti region. NDC did not invite Konadu at the Congress. And on the international news, shark nearly took off the leg of a fisherman. 2 arrested over the death of a child in England. Stay tuned and do not flip the dial or do not go away. And Sam Kikaya Dawson, Dr. Pabo, bringing the time to 54 minutes downside the hour of 7 on Your Voice Radio. The weekend international and local news about to hit your airwaves pretty soon. Logged on to the professional social web that gives you nothing but the best, both international and local news are on the Voice Radio. What more do you want? Let's use the social media for important things, and do not let us sow the seed of discourse in our society. I tell you what, do not do what I wouldn't do. Stay tuned and do not flip the dial. It's 55 minutes after 7 o'clock on Your Voice Radio. The news, international news. The Bibiani police are holding an 18-year-old student of Bibiani Senior High School for allegedly assaulting a 3-year-old boy to death. Danso Abiyi was reported to have hit the head of Yao Brenya on the ground many times, resulting in the boys becoming unconscious. Brenya reportedly died at Kufour Teaching Hospital after he was referred there from Uoso Government Hospital. Abiyi is Abeye is said to have told the police after his arrest that the incident occurred when he attempted to fight two evil spirits which had taken refuge in the boy. Sepuyi District Police Commander DSP Raymond Kofi Azua, who confirmed the incidents to the Graphic, said the suspect told the police that the two evil spirits had manifested in the form of lightning to him as student at Saturday, the August 25, 2012. He said the suspected claimed that it was the cause of fighting the two spirits that he hit the head of the boy on the floor many times. Mr. Azua said some members of the community had it tough to even rescue Brenya from the grip of Abeye, who they claimed had assumed extraordinary strength. He said after Brenya was rescued, some members of the community rushed him to hospital while the police were notified to effect the arrest of Abeye. Mr. Azua said the suspect had since been remanded in police custody and is to appear before court on Monday. The spokesperson for the Rawlinses, Mr. Kofi Adams, said the suspicious absence of the former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman Rawlings from the just ended NDC Special Delegate Congress in Kumasi has been a major part of discussions of the event that transpired at the Congress, whereas many party members were presently surprised to see Jerry John Rawlings at the Congress ground. There were questions about the whereabouts of his wife, who is being rumored to have brain behind the newly formed National Democratic Party. The spokesman for the former First Family, Kofi Adams, has however answered questions arising from the absence of Konadu, saying she was not invited. He said the invitation letter which was sent was clear, and it stated that they wanted former President Rawlings to be there, so if he wants her there, then it is her own right. She should have been invited. She was not invited. Asked whether Nana Konadu would join in the campaign for the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Adams said, when the various activities are launched, we would see the key who would be there. Unrelated issue, Alhaji Bature of the Alhaji Fame newspaper, the paper behind some of speculations about the Rawlingses and the family, has also stated clearly, or has made an indication, that the fortunes of the NDC in Ashanti region is in the hands of Konadu. The managing editor of the Alhaji newspaper, Alhaji Bature, has indicated that former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman Rawlings determines the fate of the ruling National Democratic Congress in the December polls. Bature said the ruling party must reconcile with the former First Lady, whom he described as the power broker, if the NDC intend to retain power in December. Quoting him as saying, if the NDC want their reconciliation with Rawlings to succeed, they should go and plead with Konadu Agyeman Rawlings, who will determine whether the NDC will win or lose elections. Alhaji Bature was speaking on Asempa FM Nkosi program on Friday. Mrs. Rawlings did not attend the NDC National Delegate Congress in Kumasi to endorse President John Mahama as flag bearer because, according to aide Kofi Adams, she was not invited. But her decision not to attend the Congress appeared to give some credibility to earlier claims by managing editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper, Ben Epson, that Nana Konadu tried to stop her husband, Mr. Rawlings, from attending the program. Mr. Rawlings attended the event but without his wife, which political watchers say it was unusual. Given his backdrop, Alhaji Bature maintained the ruling party's rank and file must woo Mrs. Rawlings to their campaign and ensure her full support ahead of the crucial election in 3 months' time. He noted that the only way the NDC can defeat the vicious opposition like the MPP, New Patriotic Party, is to go into the elections as united front. The NDC sympathizer was skeptical about Mr. Rawlings' impact on the ruling party's campaign at the time. He says the party has developed effective campaign strategy to win elections easily without its founder. For close to 43 months, when President Rawlings decided to abandon the party, he gave birth to the NDC, carried out its policies, strategies, and programs without him. 3 months to election, Rawlings comes. I am worried and I'm cautioning the NDC should not to jubilate too much. Alhaji Bature was also not happy about Mr. Rawlings' challenge to the newly elected flag bearer, President Mahama, to restore integrity to the presidency and the party, adding that it was regrettable and unfortunate because it was not a platform to rekindle grievances. He indicated that former President Rawlings, by suggesting that there is no integrity as the presidency, denigrated the memorial and legacy of the late President Mills. If somebody comes to say Mills has destroyed the presidency, where does Mahama belong in this circumstance? It is indictment on President John Mahama himself because he was the vice president. So if the government was so denigrated, then John Mahama was part of it. Alhaji Bature stated that Mr. Rawlings, by his conduct, has provided a campaign weapon to the MPP to use against the NDC. And now let's go for the international news. I beg your pardon, let's take this and come for the international news. Stay tuned and do not flip the dial. The local news. A fisherman has escaped a shark attack after his crew caught the animal off Islay and the Inner Hebrides. The 7-footer Probico took hold of Hamish Curry's steel tow cab boat after the skipper hauled it onto the deck of the vessel. Mr. Curry, 53, from Saltcote, Ayrshire, targeted the shark after hearing report of attacking seals. He was left shaking after the shark clamped his jaw around its foot and bit hole into his steel boat. Mr. Curry said a friend got in touch to tell him about the shark because he specialized in that style of fishing. Quoting him as saying, I took a crew of 3 up there to look for it, and because it had been attacking seals in the area. The team aimed to tag the fish, which is a member of the micro shark family, and release it back into the water. "This one was a bad fish," Mr. Kerry said. "He was nasty and got me by the foot. Likely I was wearing steel-toe cap boot. I just couldn't shake him off, but eventually one of my crew managed to help me free," he said. Mr. Curry, who has vast experience of catching shark and operate from Kanshidil in Co Antrim, said this was his closest call to date. I was lucky this time. It had definitely made me a little bit more wary of them." A man and a woman have been arrested on suspicion of murder following the death of a toddler in Lancashire. 3-year-old Leah Green was taken to hospital after paramedics were called to her home on Norris Street, Preston, on Thursday morning. She was pronounced dead when she arrived at Royal Preston Hospital. The cause of death is being investigated. A 22-year-old man and a 20-year-old woman have been arrested and remain in police custody. Deputy Superintendent Dermot Harrigan said, "This is an incredibly complex and sensitive inquiry, and we have a team of highly trained and professional officers looking into the matter." He said, "The death of a child would always be greeted with shock and a deep sense of sadness. We have dedicated neighborhood policing officers working in the area and talking to residents, and I would urge everyone who has any concern to speak to them." The Syrian conflict: fighting range at Syria air bases. The BBC Jim Moore, nobody knows, shrink from calling his a full-scale civil war. Rebel and regime forces have been battling for control of several air bases in Syria. The government said it had repelled a huge attack on air base near Aleppo, while rebels claimed victory in another battle in the east of the country. The rebels have increasingly targeted the Air Force in recent weeks, accusing it of launching attacks on cities with helicopter gunship and fighter jet. Meanwhile, Algerian Lagda Brahimi has taken up his post of UN peace envoy. Mr. Brahimi, who took over from Kofi Annan, has sought to play down expectations for his mission. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has been lobbying international leaders for support, saying he believes in the power of diplomacy. The BBC reporter Jim Moy in neighboring Lebanon says there is no sign of a change of heart by either party within Syria or their outside supporters. He said conditions would have to change before Mr. Brahimi can step in with a political solution that might actually work. The humanitarian emergency on the country's borders is also intensifying, with Jordan saying it is struggling to cope with the influx of refugees. On Saturday, Jordan and the UN Refugee Agency issued a joint appeal for $700 million, that is 440 million pounds, to deal with the crisis. The Jordan houses more than 180,000 Syrians who have fled the fighting, says the BBC Dal Gavik in Amman. The state TV has been leading its bulletin with a report from Ras Abud Air Force College near Aleppo, where it said government forces had repelled a sustained rebel assault. The pro-rebel Syrian Observatory for Human Rights and other activists said government troops had been killed and wounded in the attack. There are also reports by activists of a prolonged fighting at the Abu Zuhu Air Base in Idlib province. And another Air Force building in the eastern city of Deir al-Azur was seized, its commander killed and at least 16 personnel captured, the observatory said. Footage posted on the internet by activists showed captured regime force officers and seized weaponry. It is impossible to independently verify the claims, as reporting by foreign journalists is severely restricted in Syria. But accounts from a number of people says battle have continued in Aleppo, suburb of Damascus and other parts of the country. Russia said on Saturday that calls by the UN the Western government for the regime to stop using heavy weapons were naive. No matter your views of the Syrian regime, it is completely unrealistic in the current situation when there is fighting in the cities to say that the only way out is the unilateral capitulation of one of the opposing side, said Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Russia said Iran are Syria's key international ally. Syrian Prime Minister Walid al-Haq held talks with Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Both assured him of Iran's continued support in fighting what it agrees is a US and Israel-backed campaign to undermine Syria because of its resistance to Israel. The meeting came during a summit of non-aligned movement in Tehran. Iran has been solid in its support for the Assad government, but days earlier at the summit, Egyptian President Mahmoud Morsi described the Syrian uprising as a revolution against an oppressive regime, prompting a walkout by the Syrian delegate. Stay tuned. You heard both international and local news on Your Voice Radio. This is the radio that brings you actually the best of information across the world. Coming your way using the social media such as YouTube and the Facebook, Twitter. And you can also email me your thoughts. Your views can be posted on my webpage, as well as any information that you deemed fit to be heard by our listeners on Your Voice Radio. Keep on listening to Your Voice Radio. This is weekend international and local news. Music at the background, Ajua Yankee CK Man. Aware sama mwanyanku na unye wate. Israel mahomya nyenywa ai.
Wasi. No one even knew me. What the men meant to be in Brown Party. No, you dog one. I some more to me that I can one. Biara in then. Double bombarding the way you talk. Do you have any computer? And you don't know, and you don't know young farm. You can feel that we get a baby and a Mokobamo. 1 million the door, young 1 million door, young 1 million the door, young 1 million door, young 1 million door, young. Not that come here, you want physical. 1 million down, not that come here, you want physical. 1 million. I don't come here, you want vesicle. Oh, man, babe, 1 million down, I don't come here, you want vesicle. Oh, man, I show money, mama. 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 Order your work and your part of a
I will be leaving you in the good hands of the social network, the social media, in about a minute later. Music at the background by Dan Amajide. Stay tuned and do not flip the dial. After this song, if you don't hear from me again, catch me same time next week on the international and local weekend news on Your Voice Radio.